mystery and horror, the air itself is filled with monsters.
Children of the night, what music they make. He's alive! He's alive!
Well, hello, all you monster fiends, and thank you for joining us for another deep dive, factoid-filled episode exploring Hollywood's most famous monsters. I am your mistress of ceremonies, Sam, and I am joined, as always, by Dan from Bleeding Marvelous. Say hello, Dan.
Today, it still looks pretty much the same. And if you should ask people on the street what they believe happened to the Phantom Killer, most would say that he's still living here and is walking free.
Hiya! Hiya! Wow, what a hiya. What a hello. That was good. You are, yeah, take a bow, young lady. Take a bow and welcome to a new episode of the Monsters Up North podcast. We are still in our Slasher-ween period, and for you lucky people, you do not have my pick this week. Because I didn't realize how many times I said in that episode, don't go and watch it. I was not selling that film to the masses.
Very good advocate. Yeah,
I was
you
like,
were an advocate for that film.
I love it, but you don't have to go and watch it. It's totally fine. I said it quite a few times.
And I told you the weirdest thing happened at the weekend.
Oh,
Doing
yeah.
Birmingham HorrorCon, I comes up to the stand, Coconut Pete was on his t-shirt, a drawing of Coconut Pete, and I went, I know that film. And he looked at me and he went, go on. I went, that's Coconut Pete. And he went, finally, somebody who knows who it is. And he got so excited. And everybody right around us at the desk at the table were like, oh, bless him. He was really happy that someone knew what that film was.
Oh,
So-
bless him. Oh, I've just gotten a yellow warning come up on my computer. There is a thunderstorm a-coming. Oh.
So if it cuts out, it cuts out.
Nah, if it does, it does. Probably won't. It probably won't be coming for ages. But hey, yes, this week is Dan's pick. And it was the Town That Dreaded Sundown. So I'm going to do the intro and we're going to let Dan take over the show. So, whoa, I've just had a brain fart. Everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us on our socials, or you can join the comment section where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong, because we can all agree to disagree in fandom. So, let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behavior out of a nerdism.
Don't be a dick.
There you go. As she said, don't be a dick. Well, over to you, Dan.
Are we ready? Shall I begin?
Let's
Okey-dokey.
go.
In 1946, a hooded killer terrorized couples on the border town of Texarkana, Arkansas, leaving a wake of 5 victims. He was never caught. In 2013, years after the horrific events, the murders start again. A coincidence? A copycat? Or has he returned to exact his revenge once again? This is a true story loosely based on the real-life Texarkana Moonlight murders. Written by Roberto Origari Sacasa, I do apologise, and Earl E. Smith. Directed by Alfonso Gomez-Rejon and Charles B. Pierce. Starring Ben Johnson, Andrew Prine, Dennis O'Hare and Veronica Cartwright. Not everyone who comes to this lover's lane has the same thing on their mind. Monsters Up North brings you The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Yay! Take a bow, young lady.
Now, this is the thing about this film. It's higgledy-piggledy when it comes to the writers and directors because, as most of you would know that know about this film, it's a two-parter. There's 2 parts to this movie. Well, technically, yeah, there it is. It's a meta film. The second one. Now, I'm going to get it out of the way because we all know how much I hate Jason Blumhouse.
Yeah.
Jason Blum. Now, this is a shock to most people because I actually like this one. And technically, it's not a Blumhouse film.
No.
Jason Blum and Ryan Murphy from Glee / AHS are producers on this movie, on the 2014 version of the film. They really didn't have much to do with the writing. They didn't have much to do with the layout, hence why I like it, because the format isn't Blumhouse. He isn't at peak Blumhouse here. He's at early Blumhouse. We're talking Insidious 1, we're talking Paranormal Activity. That's the Blumhouse we're at here, which is the one that I kind of I like it because it's all original stuff here, right? Anything where the money comes in and he's got throwaway money to make endless sequels of drivel, I don't do. But this, like the early years of Blumhouse, I do like. And plus, you can see the influence of both in the second one. You can see the influence, especially of Ryan Murphy in this, which is nice because he has his little sick and twisted that I don't think Jason ever pushes to get, because he doesn't quite want to take it that far in his films. Whereas Ryan, early AHS, he will go there. He never gave a shit. You were seeing stuff in that very first AHS. Yeah. You were seeing stuff in that first AHS season that you'd never seen on TV before. Each episode of AHS Murder House was like a mini horror movie, and there was nothing you could compare it to, because I remember seeing that first series and thinking to myself, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And I couldn't get over the fact it was the guy that did Glee.
Still blows my
came
mind.
Out with a banger. But yeah, so I thought I'd get that out of the way. So if anybody calls me out on being a hypocrite for liking this film and Jason Blum is involved, feel free. I completely understand. But in my defense, it is 2014 Blum. It's not the later Blum. And that's the Blum that I do have the issue with. Right. So you have two films. You've got the 1976 version, which was written by Charles B. Pierce, who also played Patrolman Benson / I think his name was oh God, I've gone blank. I did write it down. He had a nickname in it. Started with an S. But the Patrolman Benson was the comedy character. In the first one. The guy who couldn't drive, the guy who was dressed up like a little old lady in the car with the balloon boobs. Right, you got to remember this is 1976.
Yeah. Can't remember his name.
They did it so well that I had a moment when it got to that part in the movie where I was like, oh shit, is this going to be really 1976 of it all? Do you know what I mean? Like where you have that moment where you think to yourself, are we going to have some jokes and some very unsavory opinions raise their ugly head here? And I don't recall anything too bad except for the guy perving on his balloon boobs, really.
The language in it was the language in it was quite modern. I know I did. Sorry, I was just checking something. The language in this was really modern. There was a lot of things that I noticed that was kind of like, oh, tasteful.
Yeah, I mean, what I'll do is I'll talk to you now, if I can find it first, about the what it was actually based on, what actually loosely inspired the very, very first movie. And the gist of it is Texarkana is a twin city. So it sits on the state line. Half of it is in Texas and half of it is in Arkansas. And for those of you that know, Arkansas is not spelled Arkansas like what you would think it was. It's the Arkansas.
Arkansas.
But yeah. So the state line runs through, but the federal buildings all sit over the state lines in each state. So it's an icky kind of jurisdictional nightmare for whoever works in the police departments, for sure, because every murder investigation that takes place, whose jurisdiction is it? Where does it fall? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's an absolute minefield for them. But I'll read you what I've put here. So it's a bit scripted, this bit, but I wanted to be respectful because it's actually the real thing. Everything else pretty much freestyle off, but this was what really happened. So An unidentified assailant, often known as the Texarkana Phantom Killer, committed a number of murders and assaults in Texarkana through the spring of 1946. 5 people were killed and 3 were wounded. Whilst there was one major suspect, he was never convicted of these crimes. Now, I'm just going to pause here for a second. I'm going to give a trigger warning. So if you are somebody who doesn't want to hear, it's not, I won't go into detail, but things will be mentioned. So skip ahead a little bit if you want to. It's fine. You'll get the gist of it from the films anyway. But I just thought I'd give you the opportunity to skip ahead if you needed to. Right. On February 22nd, 1946, 2 young people, Jimmy Hollis and Mary Jean Lowry, were parked on a secluded Bowie country road outside Texarkana. They were forced out of the car by an armed man, his face hidden by a burlap sack with 2 slits for eyes. The assailant beat Hollis with the gun, cracking the young man's skull in 2 places. He then essayed Lowry before fleeing when he saw the headlights of a car approaching. Both of these victims eventually recovered from their wounds. 1 month later, on March the 24th, 2 more young people, Richard Griffin and Polly Ann Moore, were found on another Bowie country back road, both shot in the back of the head with a .32 revolver. Bloodstains on the ground indicated they'd been killed outside the car and then put back in and staged. The following month, on April the 14th, teenagers Paul Martin and Betty Jo Booker were found dead in Spring Lake Park on the Texas side, with their bodies found some distance away from their car. Again, a .32 was the murder weapon. The young women in both grisly killings had been tortured and essayed before dying. Police began patrolling secluded roads and lovers' lanes. The next month, on May the 3rd, an isolated farmhouse in Miller County was the scene of another murder. Virgil Starks was shot twice and killed by an attacker standing outside the front window. When the dead man's wife, Katie Starks, heard the shots and ran to the phone, she was shot twice in the face. Nevertheless, she was able to escape and run to a nearby farmhouse for help. Though a .22 pistol had been used in Stark's death, tyre tracks similar to those in the earlier cases were found at the scene, and the crime was genuinely attributed to the same killer. The Texarkana police's best lead in the case was a car thief named Yoel Swinney, whose wife Peggy supplied them with details about the murders that only the police and the killer would know. As the admissible evidence against Swinney was only circumstantial, police instead charged him with a felony theft of a car. Under Texas law, he qualified for the State Habitual Crime Act and received a life sentence for being a repeat offender for stealing a car. Yeah, he served 25 years before getting his case appealed and then being released from prison at age 57. In 1975, he was arrested again for counterfeiting coins and stealing another car and was sentenced to 2 more years in prison. Again, walked away from prison to do a labour job and was recaptured for 4 days after 4 days later, and sent to Leavenworth Prison to serve an additional 2 years for escaping. Though still alive, he was incarcerated again at the time the movie was made and shown. He died in 1994 at the age of 77, and he's the only person they suspected to have anything to do with this. And the only way they could get him was on a felony car theft charge. That was it.
Sounds very O.J. Simpson to me.
It's definitely something. I thought I'd try and be as respectful as I could to the people because I wanted to try and get the facts in there. Obviously not be as graphic as too graphic, but it was a real life thing that happened. Now, Charles B. Pierce was incredibly respectful to the kills that take place in one way. He also then went off the reservation on others. But as a director and a writer and everything involved and an actor,
there's some artistic license that's going to have to be used.
He had the money. It was his film, right? So it is what it is. He come off a movie called The Legend of Boggy Creek. Now, that was Charles's first movie. Charles made an absolute killing of The Legend of Boggy Creek because The Legend of Boggy Creek was the very first, and this was done in, bear in mind, this is 1976, so Boggy Creek was a year or two before it. And that was the very first mockumentary style movie where they interviewed people and made it look like a documentary.
Okay.
And it was about like a murderer that happened in Boggy Creek, or it was like no, it wasn't a murderer. It was a Sasquatchy type thing. that was
Oh,
seen.
okay.
But it was harming people, and they were trying to get to the bottom of this like legend. And when you watch that film, there are so many scenes in that movie that have been plagiarized by and in the 76 movie that have been plagiarized by so many modern movies now. The Blair Witch is a prime example. They took a huge section out of Boggy Creek and recreated it for the movie.
Oh my God. Okay.
So it is kind of found footage in like elements in it, but it's not,
Yeah.
they didn't, that's not what they called it in 74, whenever it was that they made it. So that's where Charles made his money. He made his money on this mockumentary
Good.
style movie. So he decided that he'd heard about the Texarkana murders, and bearing in mind that this all takes place in the 40s. So when Charles is writing and making this movie, it's the 70s. So he's then trying to find a way of transporting everybody back and still be respectful enough to the source material that he's not going to besmirch the names of the people that were involved.
He ain't shitting on anyone, basically.
Yeah, he was trying his hardest. But he it was written in such a strange way, this first movie. It works, don't get me wrong, but it's the film, they call this the film that no one's ever seen. Because it's responsible for so many shots and iconic things that have come after this film that you wouldn't know that what you're seeing after is not the first time it's been done.
Yeah.
So Sackhead is the main protagonist, the Phantom Killer. They call him Sackhead in the second, but in the first they don't really have a name for him.
Don't give him, no, not that I heard.
But he is the inspiration for Sackhead, Mr. Jason Voorhees in the second Jason Voorhees. They used this as an inspiration for his look until he got his hockey mask. Yeah,
the look is amazing. The look is unreal.
Then you have the shots, and in this one you have a lot of shots of feet and trousers. And that is now a prime thing that's been used in all the Scream movies, especially in the first Scream, where when you see all the sheriffs walking around with the boots and the trousers, and not necessarily just the sheriffs, but you have that moment where you see the feet coming down from the toilets and you see them closing up. There's always close-ups on the shoes and it's come from this film.
Right.
The use of, you never see the face, you always see the things that tie them all together, and you go, oh, is that him? Oh, is that him? Oh, you get that kind of thing. So there's so many things in this first movie, that's just to name a few of them, that have inspired horror movies for decades afterwards, that it's just so cleverly done. You don't even know it's being clever. It's hard to explain. 70s movies are well renowned for being exploitation-y type horror, and I suppose this does to a degree fall into that category, because when you do see the murders, they're not particularly graphic, but it's the aftermath where you actually see, where it insinuates what's happened rather than showing you what he's doing, except for one or two murders, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
There's more of like alluding to doing something, or when you see the body, you're like, oh my God.
Oh shit, what
we didn't see any of that happen. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, especially I think it's the first one where the girl drags herself to the side of the road.
Yeah. So you had Howard Turner, who was killed by the Phantom, being pulled out of the, well, he weren't, he's off screen, Howard Turner, sorry.
Is that the people in the car?
At the beginning, neither of them died. They just got
but it's the car. The car won't start. That is probably the most intense part. The intense thing is because of the sound of that fucking car.
Her screaming as well.
Oh Christ! I just wanted to shut up.
That did bug me. I'm not going to lie. It's the way he ripped the whole ignition coil or whatever the hell that was out of the car. It was just standing there waving it at him. And the amount of times we've seen that in horror movies as well, where they pull a part of the car out and they're waving it at them when they're trying to escape, So, and again, the thing about this film as well was people also have to understand this is 1976. At this point, no Michael. no Jason, no
No.
Freddy. No, none of these big.
Mm.
The only slasher movie to come really before this was Psycho.
Black Christmas out yet?
77.
Fuck, okay.
I'm
Right,
pretty sure Black
Jesus.
Christmas was 77. I
Yeah.
can't remember off the top of it. It might have been
It was a
74.
long time ago since we did that.
Yeah, I think it was 77 because John Carpenter, when they took inspiration, he took that
Yeah.
for Halloween. Halloween was 79. So,
You know, it was 74.
was it really? I did say
Yeah.
74 in the end, didn't I? Yeah. They basically, there wasn't a slasher genre at this point when this film came out. So this is actually hailed as the first modern, like the first 70s slasher.
Ooh.
So I don't know how Black Christmas fits in the canon of shit, but at the moment, when I was doing all the research, this is like the ground zero
The
for
higher, yeah.
where it's actually started, where people pull the inspiration from this film.
I'm trying to think because like Black Christmas could be, it could have been looked as more of a psychological thriller than anything else because of the whole phone call-y thing, and they might not even have like thought that you fucking idiot. Sorry, Binks is just getting, he's gone after that moth. The phone call and everything, like it's more in your head, it wouldn't have been or it might not have been until later on.
Mm.
When the slasher genre starts to come in, it's like, oh, that kind of fits in that category. I don't know. I could just be making this shit up.
No, that's pretty much what I gathered. You know, you had the Hitchcock psychological psycho thing. Obviously they didn't have, like I say, they didn't have this brand called slasher movies. That came in the 80s, the slasher thing. So when they started looking at movies prior to that, they chased them all back. And when they chased them all back, they chased it back to this film. So this is supposedly hailed as the original.
Yeah, I can understand.
He actually did recycle a lot of the movie footage he took for Legend of the Boggy Creek, and he put it into this film as stock footage
Amazing.
and like gap fillers and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So saved himself a ton of money there. What they did was they went to the smallest town in Texarkana, and they genuinely filmed it where it took place.
You
the
could
murder.
tell that's not soundstage. That's genuine on location. It looked like you felt the atmosphere, like really, really felt the atmosphere of the place.
They love it so much in that town. It's used as a cautionary tale, but so out of superstition, this movie is now played every year in movies in there. There's like a movie festival that happens near Halloween or in the summer. They weren't very specific. They gave me months, but it's called Movies in the Park. And since 2003, it's run every year on the dot. If they don't do it, it's like real bad doo-doo. Yeah. So that's the last 22 years it's been running for, back to back every year.
2003 was that long ago.
So yeah.
I mean, isn't that crazy? Because the town that the Blob was filmed in, don't they do that? Don't they have like a festival?
Mm-hmm.
Brought it back around.
Always comes around.
Always comes back.
Yeah, so it's a weird one because there isn't really a lot out there about either of these films because it's not a popular film, so to speak. In respect of like I say, it's the film that nobody knows, that everybody should know because it's an origin movie. The murders in this are where we, I think, sit, without being disrespectful to the people it actually happened to. He did try and stay very much within the parameters of the majority of the ways they died, except for one scene.
Yeah.
The way he handled it, and I saw an interview with I can't remember whether he was a sheriff or a policeman, but you know the guy that had the hat on, he wore the cowboy hat for most of it, not the older guy that they brought.
Oh my gosh, he looked. Yes,
the main skinny guy.
Yes,
I've gone blank on his name. I
know who you mean.
Yeah, I saw an interview with him today, and he was talking about how he was actually the director of photography on this film as well, and he was saying about how he knew Charles had something special. He
Mm.
knew Charles couldn't wait. It was like bursting to get this film out of him because he just knew he had to do it. He said, so the most important thing to us was just to try and be as graphic with the parameters that we had on a
Yeah.
limited movie, but not disrespectful at the same time. He said, so we sat down with all the families, we sat down with people, and
Oh,
when we
wow.
walked into the town, people were like, yeah, you can come and film at our farm for free. You can come on our land and film on our land, but you have to have dinner with us. This is
Oh,
the kind of community it was. You know, they wanted to get to know what
yeah.
they were doing. They wanted to understand what the movie was going to
Oh,
do for the town. Was it going to bring them bad luck? Was it going to be a good thing? Was it going to
yeah.
scare people?
To be honest, it shows them in such a brilliant light.
Yeah, I mean, from all intents and purposes, I didn't really look too deep into him because I didn't want to unsully what I knew about him, just in case there was
Mhm.
something else. But he comes across as a very intelligent movie maker. Like,
Yeah.
he knows how to appeal to the subject matter, um, and get what he wants and do it the way he wants to without master manipulation
Yeah.
and just being nice. It
Yeah,
seems-
it doesn't show the, and I think this is probably what the town folk would have been worried about, is their police department looking like a bunch of fools,
Mhm.
like chasing their complete tails, and it's not at all. It's so, they are very clever people, and they all work together. There's no, it didn't feel like there was any hierarchy. It was just, it felt community, and if that's what they were worried about, there was nothing they needed to worry about in that sense. Not for me anyway.
Yeah,
Um, but what I thoroughly loved about this film is the voiceover, is the narration.
yeah. Because that's what I
You,
was trying to get across when I was saying to you last week when I was trying to explain what it was before you'd seen it. Like,
mhm.
I was trying to say it was like a documentary, but it isn't at the same time. There's like this element where you feel like it could be, but it doesn't quite get there. And then there's like the whole thing with the second one, which we'll get on to, where it's a self-aware meta version of the movie, but it's not, and it's
Yeah, I like the idea of
clever. I
really
feel like
clever.
that is how you do a meta movie without disrespecting the original. I don't know how they did it, but they just did something very special with that
Yeah,
film. Um, which I know again I'm mentioning Jason Blum,
I
but
know, but
again,
you're also mentioning Ryan Murphy at the
there's
same
a lot of
time.
people involved in this, not
Yeah,
just
not just
so
him.
the
He's
writers
a
have got a lot to be said for in this as well.
100%. But the narration in the original, I feel that is something that is lacking in movies. Like, for somebody whose attention span is as bad as what mine is, it kept me on track all the time. It really helped that the voice that was doing the narration was like velvet.
It's Charles B. Pierce.
Oh my God, his voice is amazing. And it's just, the movie's not complicated,
No.
but it really gives you like that sense of, oh, this is serious because someone's telling us about it.
And the thing was as well, it was one of the first loosely based on a true story movies as well.
Wow,
Like,
okay.
he broke so many different barriers that he didn't know
Yeah.
even breaking, because obviously you only know them being breaking on reflection, the
Mm-hmm.
barriers. So he, yeah, by doing a movie that was loosely based on a true story in a true crime setting,
Mm-hmm.
was not something that anybody had done that had the money to be able to push the movie forward. Now, I couldn't
Yeah.
find anybody that had said that they'd done it before this in such a way. Because technically this was kind of independent in the respect of Charles paid for most of it by himself. It wasn't they didn't have big stars in it. You had
No, no, there's
people
nobody
who had
recognizable.
no, you had people who had TV careers,
Mm-hmm.
but again, nobody who was like a massive movie star at the time, which was the reason why it didn't kind of get that push forward
Oh,
that
that's such a shame.
you know it deserved. But in a way, I'm glad it didn't, because it's got this cult status now that the second one has helped push forward again.
Oh, that's
The-
good.
Charles decided that obviously the killings happened in the 40s, and this was the 70s when he made the movie, so that's 30 years, and like at that point they still hadn't caught the killer. They had the idea of who he was, but in real life they were like, right, okay. He was like, I want to we need to get this back up and running. We need people to be talking about this again, because we've met with the people, we've talked with the people that live here, and they're scared they're going to be forgotten. They're scared these people are nothing. So we need to give it meaning. You know, we need to do the best for these people that we can do. So when you see the kills in the movie that are very, very damn close to the kills the way the other guys died, so the guys in the cars that get killed, the woman that's shot in the face, which, may I say, special effects wise, that was a piece of genius for a 1970s exploitation movie.
That was a piece of art.
You see it go in her cheek, and you see her just stand there, and just it was a combination of the special effects at the time and the movie, the actress at the like who played her, and how the squib went off, and it like literally went, or they had the guy hiding on the floor squirting the blood up the wall. I don't know.
However way it was done.
It was beautifully done. Like, her son or her husband got killed whilst he was sat watching the TV, and the way, I can't even explain to you how they do this, because in the like nowadays they CGI it, they can pause it, they can do a bit of makeup, and then they can get it on again. Even in the Universal Monsters we've seen, where they do the transitions with like Larry, Larry the Lurker, so you see his phasing in and stuff like that. This wasn't even like that. It was instant, you know, and it didn't even look cut. And
there's no room for edit on that one.
No, and you see the blood dribbling out, and you see him in the background lurking behind him, and then it's just so well done. The scenes with the cornfield and the where she's trying to run away through the cornfield on her hands.
She was so clever.
And she'd had a bullet go through her face at this point.
Yeah.
So it was absolutely insane.
That whole bit there, one, it irritated the life out of us, because they know, like, that he knows, the guy who's sitting reading the fucking paper, watching the telly, completely, like, his wife's like, I can hear something, and instead of like, oh, there's a potential killer on the look, maybe I should go and have a look, he's like, can't hear nothing, and just gets back to reading his paper. I was like, if that was me and Nand, I'd make him get up.
But is it best to not know when it should come? Like,
maybe because he had no fuck like that. Yeah, he got shot with a silencer, which was that whole scene was so beautifully shot though, where he's stood behind him for some time. Like, that's menacing, that
but he's
bit.
out of focus, but if you can see him.
You can see him. So menacing. And then to do it with a silencer as well on his gun, and I'm like, oh shit. That is there. But I really thought, because of the way he got killed, I was like, oh, well, she's done for. But the fact it was just a face, and she still stood up, I was like, I was finding myself going, go on, bitch, run, keep running, get to that fucking door.
And she managed to get quite far. I mean, it's one of those ones again where they used the surroundings to their benefit. They used the cornfield. Whether that actually happened,
that gave me a little bit. I don't have claustrophobia, but that gave me a little bit of like, God, I cannot breathe in this moment. And
it was so cleverly done in the first one, because you're seeing it from her POV, then you see it from his POV, and I'm not talking in the TikTok sense of POV, which they do not understand what POV mean. Because if I see one more post on TikTok that says POV, I'm in the car. And it's like, that's not what point of view means. It's the perspective of someone looking from your face at an item, or their face at you. That's what a point of view.
Point of view is from your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it that way. And you can't put fucking cameras in your eyes.
Well, if you wear them.
Why not yet?
Glasses, yeah, you might be able to. But yeah, so we're going to talk about probably the most controversial kill in this. Now, this did not happen in real life, this kill.
Thank Christ. One, where did you get it from?
The thing about Charles is a joker at heart. So that's why they were really confused why he went down this whole need to do serious movie. Well, not serious movies, but serious contented movies, when he was a joker. He was a funny guy. As you will see in this first movie, that he is the clown character. He is the comic relief. He is the Stan Laurel of the show. That is his kind of, he's the one that's always having the mickey taken out of him, or getting battered or tripping over, you know, he's that guy. So
Hmm?
when it comes to this kill, now
Yeah.
the aftermath is horrific. Don't get me wrong. We'll talk about that as well. But
Oh yeah, I'm not laughing at the actual thing. It's yeah, Dan will explain it.
well, firstly, I'd like to know where he got a trombone from because
Where did he get it from?
right, I don't recall this bit. But this
Oh
is probably the most famous scene from this movie that you didn't know was from this movie.
no.
Yeah, so he gets the slider from a trombone and he ties what I can only surmise is like a Bowie knife to the end of it. Um, puts the slider back into the trombone and he's tied one of the female victims to the tree. So she's face to the trunk and her back is exposed and her arms are wrapped around. She cannot get away.
Mm-hmm.
And from what it looks like is different to what it insinuates. So I think you've left
Yeah.
it open to interpretation because what it looks like in the film is that he is with every Johnny Briggs moment, he going
I know how
he
to play that song.
he's stabbing her with the Bowie knife from the slider of the trombone in her back, right? So she's after he's finished the song, she's a roadmap.
But he's not making a goddamn sound out of the
No,
trombone, which is
no.
mind-boggling because it doesn't. Right, I don't know if I've ever admitted this on this one, but I am a trombone player. I have a high grade in trombone playing. Um and yeah, I'm pretty qualified. Um and it doesn't matter how like if you've got the mouthpiece here, I mean to play the trombone, it's just simply just you just gotta your lips have got to be pursed and they've got to be and you make that sound and that's what the noise comes
Mhm.
from. It doesn't matter if you blow into it, you're still going to make some form because it's the vibrations of your lips that gets yeah. So you're still going to make some form of sound. He made no sound whatsoever. I was like, oh, okay.
It felt very mimey to me. It felt like he was miming doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I
So,
don't know if that was intentional or not, or they said to
just
him, we want you to make it creepy by not making a noise whilst you're doing it, because it did make it kind of unsettling.
it did that. Yeah, I think it. Do you know what? Yes, you're absolutely right. If any form of noise came out of that, you'd be.
You would have
I mean,
laughed.
you'd be pissing yourself laughing even more than you. Actually, there was just a lot of questions. Like me and Anth paused it and just was like, "Where do you get the trombone from in the first place? And where the fuck is that going?" There's a lot of questions, but yeah, it is unsettling when you sit and rewatch it again. It's there's nothing there, and it's just all you can actually hear is the intensity of him sliding the trombone down. So the noise. This is a killer who likes to grunt and groan a lot, and you can hear and you can hear when he's getting frustrated and when he's getting angry. And he kind of was in that whole scene getting really annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Which then turns it to the point of where you're like, okay, so was it a form? Were we getting into SA territory there? Were we, was it, because it,
You asked a question. Where on earth was that going to?
yeah, it insinuated it wasn't her back he was stabbing at one point, but it never showed anything like that. It wasn't like porn or anything like that. It wasn't showing that kind of stuff like gore
Yeah,
porn or anything.
no, no, nothing like that. I think it is. I've seen a few videos, and a lot of people have said because it's like, what's with the trombone scene? And it's people are like they think it's a genius move in part because it really does. There's something so horrific going on in front of you, yet you are so blindsided by the fact that the trombone is being used
As a
to
murder
do.
weapon.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. It a lot of questions have like been asked, but a lot of the answers they just agreed that it's up to you. This whole scene is up to your interpretation.
And I think this was Charles letting loose on his artistic license. This was where Charles
Yeah.
could say, right, okay, I'm going to throw a kill in there that didn't exist, and we're going to go all out and do something really fucking weird, because this is what's in here and it needs to come out. And
Let's
that's
let's
what
yeah. Let's make this
Yeah.
fucking strange.
Yeah, and let's make this really fucking weird. Let's just go for it, so people know this isn't real. I think that's, to me, that's kind of how it felt. Like all the other ones, also almost like they were practically like for like how they were found or how they got hurt or how they died. They were pretty
Yeah.
much bang on, shot through the back of the head, shot in the face, they were all very much how these people died
Oh.
originally. But the trombone is so far-fetched. I think he just put that in there to go, this is what I can do, but this isn't real because this didn't really happen because it's so ridiculous.
Like
But
why would it?
you're going to
To me,
remember this fucking film because I put this in here.
something's just come to me head, and then sorry, I'm just gonna have to 69. The Zodiac killings.
Hmm.
It's literally just popped in my head because I'm flashing back over when you said all the other murders, and I'm like kind of mentally going through each one, and it very. But this happened in the 40s.
Correct.
I just had to go and check the date, and that was in the 60s, late 60s.
Yeah, in
Shit.
California. So it
Okay.
happened in California, I think. The Zodiac. It was like the
San Francisco.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was all up the western seaboard, all around
Jesus
there.
Christ. Okay.
So
And he wore a sack on his head, no, apparently.
executioner's hood, sack, whatever you want to call it. Apparently it was hilarious though, because he had those weird sunglasses that he pushed the lenses out of sunglasses and sewn them and glued them onto his executioner hood. Honestly,
As you
the
do.
more I listen about these kind of things, I find it hilarious. Like the films are great, don't get me wrong. John Carroll, forgotten his name, played Twisty, does an amazing version of him in the Zodiac movie with Robert Downey Jr. and Jake Gyllenhaal. That movie's great. I highly recommend it, but it is not technically correct.
Yeah, it's meant to be like a work of fiction, kind of, in a sense that it
Yeah,
still
because
represents
nobody
that.
knows. I mean,
No,
you've
and
got
no one's
the yeah. I mean, if you want to know more about the Zodiac Killer, there is a lot of similarities between not the way he kills them, but the whole lovers lane situation. And they when they were doing the interviews, they were like, we didn't know whether it was the same guy and he moved. We didn't know whether
Oh
he
shit,
got
okay.
inspired from the original
Uh-huh.
in Texarkana and decided to be a copycat, but because he was in San Francisco, it was so far away that it wasn't seen as a copycat killing. The love
Yeah.
lane situation. Because
I
that's what
just
it seemed like he targeted mainly couples. The
so
phantom killer.
in certain cases it's a very easy access if they're going to be in there because and these kind of in that time period that was the thing to do.
And on top of that, this was not a morality movie. Like the Jason movies, the kills are from a morality standpoint. Don't
Uh-huh.
have sex, don't get your boobs out, don't lose your virginity, you're going to die. That's
Yeah.
not what this was about. This wasn't a morality thing because it was based off of true things that happen. So the morality thing sort of goes out the window because
There's
it
no rhyme or reason to it. There's no pattern apart from the fact that the couples and that it's a lane. That's the only thing. He in this case, it wasn't necessarily a knife that was used. It could have been a gun that was used. It was the murder weapon. It felt like that when after watching it, it felt like the first one was a tester.
Mhm.
And the second one was like, right, I'm fully in this now.
The first one you did see a lot. Like I say, there was the one scene when he'd finished with the trombone and the policeman found her body tied to the tree, and you saw bite marks all over her back along with the stab marks. So it was that for me was what cemented the fact that more happened than you got to see. And I was like, whoa, okay, that was incredibly respectful, but fuck me, that I now understand how serious
we
this
yeah
is.
we what we have to remember with this movie that it's not your this type of movie hasn't been made yet, as in like the fantastical slasher
Mhm.
movies that we'll get later on. And what he has to have is that fine balance of being respectful but also actually telling you what happened as well.
Because they don't show any of the SA scenes. You don't see any of that.
You don't
Like I
need
say,
to.
it's alluded to, but subtly.
Yeah.
The bite marks on her back and things like that. And again, it's so quick. If you don't catch it, you don't see it. You know,
Mhm.
and it's like one of those things where you just go, "Woof, okay, that was
Jesus.
savage. That's
Brutal.
yeah, I mean, I know the guy is supposed to have killed the person with the fucking trombone, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the original sort of
Yeah.
guy in the sense. So the film sort of comes to an end where it gets away and there's no conclusion to this movie.
There's not.
And I love that
Mhm.
because they didn't have him in real life. There was no like, oh, this is the suspect. We're going to sell this guy down the river. You know, we know he's already in prison. There's nothing, you know, they knew that they could get sued if they brought his name up. So they just stayed the fuck away from any kind of suspect.
Yeah.
You had no idea who the killer was and you will never know. And I liked that. I thought that that was scary
So
enough to give you that whole
so ambiguous. It's so just you've got no idea this person could be outside your door right now.
hence that line saying most would say he's still living here and is walking free.
Mhm.
So
It's
people literally shit their pants.
yeah. And yeah. And this is it's not a story. You've got to take you back. I mean, we can't take ourselves back there because one, we weren't even born in the fucking 70s. But these kind of topics and subject matters weren't really like spoke about. We talk about it on when The Exorcist came out. Fuck me, like people lost their fucking minds because this doesn't get brought up. This is not on your movie screens. This is not on your TV. It's not like now where everyone's like completely desensitized to everything.
Yeah. So when they talked about doing another film
Uh,
using the same name, everybody was like, oh, don't just leave it, don't do it, which I
I
understand.
can understand.
So they sat down and they thought to themselves, right, how can we do this in a way which we're not gonna discount the first one? We're going to use that as a building block. We're going to use it as a stepping stone to get to where we need to get to. They do this in many ways to tie this movie together. You've got the fact that for the first bit of the film, you don't know what era it's in. You have no idea
No.
where you are with it
Nah.
because you know you're in the same town.
Mm-hmm.
You everybody's wearing 70s style clothing in this.
Yes.
The cars are all over the place ages, you know, you don't specifically know, and then you get told it's 2013.
It's crazy, but it's so understandable because it's a town that probably stood still in time. Just to mention, you mentioned cars. The cars on the first one, oh, mate, I loved every single one of them.
So many Fords and
Oh, they were beautiful. I am by no stretch a like car junkie or anything like that, but I appreciate good vintage cars, and I do appreciate when they fit them into the right times as well. I watched a movie today that had a car that would never have been in the 1920s, and I was very disappointed. Um, yeah, they were lovely. Sorry,
no,
continue.
you gush over the cars, it's
Oh,
fine.
they were beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
This movie boasts quite a cast, really, compared to the first one.
I'd imagine.
In this one, you've got Veronica Cartwright as the grandma. Now, Veronica Cartwright, for a lot of you that won't know who she is, she was in Alien.
Well, if you want to take it a little bit further back, she's the
Yeah.
little girl in the birds.
Yes. And she's also in The Witches of Eastwick. She's this person, yeah, the cherry lady. She's one of these people, she's always in a movie. You'll see her and you'll go,
Her.
her.
It's her eyes. It's the eyes
Yes.
of Veronica Cartwright's eyes are absolutely unreal. Can't really. The only reason you know it's her in the birds is because how wide that kid can open her eyes, but they are generally just Veronica Cartwright's eyes. Yeah, that woman is unreal.
You've got surprisingly an actor in this which I would never have cast in the role of Lone Wolf Morales, Anthony Anderson. Now, he's most known for his scary movie skits, his funny comedy
Yeah.
parts, and at this point he'd slimmed down a lot from the guy that we knew as the comedy guy, and he started taking on more serious roles after he lost a bit of the weight. And Anthony Anderson was in Transformers, the one where they're at the Hoover Dam. I remember that because he was in that one specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was always the comedy sidekick or the comedy character. In this, he plays the same character that was played by the old guy that comes wandering into town and gets the cigar. That's the guy he
Him.
plays.
Yeah, I loved him.
And then you have Gary Coleman, who is Star-Lord's dad, if I remember right. Fake dad.
Grand.
He's his fake dad in this. Like, Gary Coleman pops up in a lot of movies.
Hold
He
on. You talk.
he he's one of these characters that when he appears, you go, "Oh, that guy! It's that guy!" And he always plays a bum of a dad. Like that is the main part he tends to play more than anything else. Like he'll come in and he'll borrow money off a kid and then leave again, and like that's his typecast role. But he plays the policeman in this, the main policeman on the other
He's
side.
got. Hold on. I know who you mean. Oh fuck no! I was looking at him the other day.
He's been
No,
in The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, The Ballad of Talladega Nights. He's in so many films. Like he does comedy, he does straight movies. He's a bit like Peter Stormont. He just appears everywhere, and
and he's got such a distinct face. If it's the
Mhm.
person I'm thinking of,
He was the police chief on the other side, the one that
Ed
was eating
Law,
cereal
Ed
halfway.
Lautner. Is it Ed Lautner?
Ed was in it as well. He played his boss, I think.
Right. That's who I was thinking of. Ed
Yeah.
Lautner, who up until Monday when I started reading about it, I did not know was dead. 2013. This is his last movie.
hmm
No, it's not actually. There's another one, but this is technically his last movie. Oh,
We've got we've got Ed Herman in this.
we
And
do.
most of you will know Ed Herman as Max from The Lost Boys.
Oh,
Ed,
Mr. Gilmore.
yeah. Now, fun fact about this was Ed's official last movie he ever did before he passed away, because he passed away in 2014.
Yeah, it's the same with the other guy as well. Ed Lautner.
Yeah.
Both of them have are both passed away before this movie comes out.
But the weirdest thing is, in 2021, a film called Night Books was released, and that starred Ed. So
Hmm.
he died in 2014, but his
And
last movie was in 2021.
the 31st of December 2014, I will not forget when I found out. I was crushed. That is one of those ones that kind of like gives you a bit of a, oh God, he's not with us anymore. Because I love Gilmore Girls, and obviously, Lost Boys. Oh, there's so many actually. Yeah. Wow.
The wonderful thing about this movie as well, it starred Dennis O'Hare. Now,
I'm gonna put my
yes,
phone away.
now this is the good thing. He played Charles B. Pierce Jr. in the
Yeah.
movie. So he played the son of the guy that directed the original. This is where it gets meta.
Yeah.
So they acknowledge that the first one was a film that was made based on real events. So they
hmm
acknowledge the film exists, and he plays the son of Charles, and he has all the memorabilia in this boat that's on dry land that he lives in the middle of a field, right?
Let's find out.
And he does all the narration, Dennis O'Hare, in
Yeah.
this. He takes Charles's role from the first film, and he does it in the second film, which I thought was quite nice. I thought it was a good,
Such a homage.
yeah, I thought it was a good idea. So basically, they allude to the fact that they think it's him trying to revive his dad's glory by making the movie, like he's making a sequel. They have talks whether they're not sure in this film whether it's the original guy coming back, but then when the first murder takes place down Lover's Lane, and this is where you meet your main protagonist, who I disliked immensely and couldn't wait for her to die. But the way that they handle this was he's pulled out, you think he's gonna, and he gets killed, whatever. When she goes back to talk to her nan about it, she's like, "You were alive then?" And she was like, "No," because this is 2013, bearing in mind, and the original murders were in the 40s. She
Mhm.
said, "Your nan and your granddad lived in this house and were so petrified at the time And what I love with this film as well, it takes snippets from the original movie and does an exact mirrored version of it
Mhm.
with the updated thing. So you'll see like a scene where they're putting extra locks on a door from the original 70s movie, and then you'll see them doing exactly the same thing. Not in exactly the same way, but in a
Mhm.
very similar way. So it's not like a blatant rip-off, but it is showing the
The same
fear.
idea.
Yeah, it's showing the fear of the people
Mhm.
of when it starts to, you know, the curfew comes into town, you know, into place, and everybody's sort of being very blocking out their windows
Yeah.
and you know, just safeguarding themselves from anything. The way that they skip about with this main character, I don't really like her story arc at all, but I understand why she's there.
Yeah.
She's the one that basically takes you through this, so you get to see all the things that you need to see to get to the end.
Pretty much.
You you are, it is technically from her point of view in the respect of that she's the main focus of the film. Whereas in the first one, you didn't have a protagonist,
There
you
was
didn't
no
have
one.
anybody to follow, which I liked. So
Mhm.
I I get why they had her, but for me,
It's just how movies have progressed, really, isn't it?
yeah, I think what they did with the second one, they took one look at the way that movies are made now and thought, oh, we need that person. We need somebody for you to empathize with. We need you to have that person. And
We
I
need
get,
that final girl.
but the first one proved we didn't.
No.
So there's a few bits in this which I think is kind of, they take it up a notch, so you get to see the gore and you get to see a bit more of the kills, and you see things a lot more graphic. Again, they're not quite the kills, you know, as respectful to the source, the true crime element, which kind of icked me out a little bit, but they took artistic licenses on the kills
I
enough
think,
that they weren't real
yeah.
copies. So
Yeah, and I think they could on this one, because it's not, the idea is that it's that this movie happened. It
it's
doesn't
a
have to.
copycat.
Yes, I heard there's no mirror in it. It doesn't have to be mirrored, because we already know that the original happened. I know what I mean in my head. It's
No,
really
I know
try.
what you mean.
It's hard to
They're
unravel
aware the
it.
first movie existed within
Yeah.
the film, so
Hmm.
they acknowledge that. They also say that yes, it definitely happened in the 40s.
Yeah.
Really happened in the 40s. They did a movie about it in the 70s, and they acknowledge both of those things within this
Hmm.
third film, well, within the second film.
Yeah.
Um, but you see a lot more of the deaths in this one, and there's a lot more deaths in this one.
Graphic.
So you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 14 kills in this one compared to the 5 in the original. So with this movie, you see a lot more shooting, you see a lot more decapitation. The bit that I quite liked that I didn't expect, because when you're watching this, it is more of a whodunit in the situation in this one. Because it's the
Hmm.
copycat you're looking for. You're not looking
Yeah.
for, you know, the guy who would at that point have been,
They ain't need Phantom in this one.
yeah, he would have been in his 80s. It wouldn't have been the original guy.
That'd have been hilarious though if it had been in.
So they haven't gone like stuck hard and fast to the original
Yeah.
plot, which I liked as well. So it's based off, they know it's a copycat. There's no way it couldn't have been. So the kills are really strange, but I did like the train track murder where he said it was very Dexterish, where in one respect, where he'd completely butchered this guy's body, who I thought was going to turn out to be
Yeah.
the Phantom Killer or whatever we're calling him. The guy that had been a friend in the research thing, and when they find him on the train tracks and he's
Yeah.
all cut up into 1,000 pieces, but he's articulated still in a body on the train tracks, and I thought that was pretty cool. And because
Mhm.
that did look, it looked
Grim
pretty,
as fuck.
yeah, and it looked good. It didn't look like they'd skimped on any kind of like special effects with that. The face looked like him. It didn't look like a plastic model of his head. Yeah.
No. The makeup work on this was just as powerful as it was in the original.
And I liked the fact that they weren't scared to kill off big character names. Like
No.
when Veronica got shot, she got shot in the neck. and Grandma dies. I like the fact that Gary Coleman, that was one hell of a way to go. I mean, he's sitting there drinking his beer, getting head off his missus, and then he got head. He got shot right in the eye. And it's one of those things where it goes like that, right? And you're like, fuck. It snaps you out of it because you're like, oh God, here we go.
You're like, well, what's he doing?
Oh, fucks. Yeah, all right. You know, but you understand the point of it in the movie because he's kind of a little bit egotistical. He's a bit of a know-it-all.
He
Yes,
just
I
looks
know.
the fucking smugness of him and the like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's obviously doing what she's doing. And so you're watching him drinking his beer, enjoying himself because he's the only person they focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just see like this hole in his face. And it happens so quickly. You're like, whoa, what the
What a way to go.
Oh, Jesus. Well, he was happy when he was going. But then you see this whole scene where she then has to run for her life. We have the grass scene again, running through the long tall grass, but they do the thing where they do the down shot from the boom crane, and you seeing her running away from him, and you see him go in a different direction. You're thinking, go on, girl, you can make it.
You can do this.
You actually really find yourself cheering for her, going,
You
God,
do.
you're all right. And then she bumps into the scarecrow and screams her head off because she thinks that that's him, and it's not. It's the scarecrow. So he finds her, and he, in all intents and purposes, crucifies her technically on the scarecrow. Like the setup the scarecrow's on. I
Poor
liked
lady.
that because I thought that was
Creative.
well done. Yeah,
Very creative.
they'd taken the kill of the woman getting shot in the face and the husband getting shot in the back of the head reading the newspaper, and they twisted it
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
more modern
Yeah.
suited audience.
What got me when I found out that Ryan Murphy had done this, I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm shocked. I'm shocked to my core that one, he managed to finish something coherently, and two, he didn't change history. He didn't turn around at the end and go, it was him all along. Because Ryan Murphy has a tendency for shifting history in a way.
He also has a history of taking things incredibly far. Like
way too far.
in Hotel, for example, there is the scene with the driller killer guy and the guy who's withdrawing from drugs with the essay scene, which is barbaric and absolutely horrific. So I kind of get. I'm not saying it wasn't needed, and I'm not saying he shouldn't have put it in because it has its place in that, but you kind of see how his mind works.
Yeah.
In that sense, so you can see it here.
Yeah. The Hotel is probably my favorite of all of American Horror Story. But there's one section I could quite easily just pick up and take out and throw away, and it is everything to do with the serial killer bit. It is fucking disgusting. But this is
The meal where they're all sat around the table.
Horrible.
Arlene Warnes, Gacy, Richard Ramirez, and
Zodiac.
And the Zodiac, which was Carol.
I'm sure Dharma's in there, probably Bundy's. It's so fucking fanatically disgusting. And do you know what gets us more than anything? Sorry to go on a tangent on this, but it's the Eileen Warnes bit.
She didn't fit with those guys.
Also, she didn't. They made so if Ryan does his homework right, the reason Eileen Warnes used to flip her hair the way she did is because her hands were constantly tied here. And all she could do, her hands were tied to the point where all she could do was do that. She could push her hair away with her fists or like her hands. And so in the end, she just ended up flipping her hair to get it out of her face. They made it look like she had a psychotic tic of like being able, it was fucking terrible. And also, no Devil's Nights with fucking serial killers. We should not be, I'll just stop.
One thing I will say, Eileen shouldn't have been there in the respect of she was a product, not excusing what she did at all, but she was a product of her environment. She was a product of her upbringing. Whereas the others,
She was a woman who needed saving. She was a woman who needed help. She didn't need the fucking death penalty thrown upon her, and she didn't need constant years of people fucking literally not believing. Oh, I can't get into it, Dan. Otherwise, I'll
No,
just lose me.
she for me, she shouldn't have been in that group because all the other guys were on a totally different thought. They were all dropped on their heads as babies, and they genuinely were. That's not me just being dick about it.
No.
It is the key link to serial killers, full stop. You look at any of their history, there is an accident where every single one of those guys has been dropped on the head or had a brain injury. Genuinely, look into it. That's not me lying.
Yeah.
That is where they trace all of these things going back for people like Richard Ramirez, Gacy, Bundy, you know, Dharma. They have all had accidents to do with their brain that have led them to be the way they are. I think it activates something. It gives them some sort of morbidity, or it triggers something in their brain that lays dormant, that gives
brain
them
chemistry.
compulsion. It gives them the compulsion to do these things. Whereas Eileen didn't have any of that.
No, she was a product of fucking incest.
The way she was, you know, her life played out, prostitution, being abused through that, you know. So I always found that episode curious, because I always used to think, how did he get to this? He's just trying to be sensational for the hell of it.
I think it's sensational because at the time it was, you know, that was where people's like true crime was starting to become such a big, because back in the day true crime was a very hush hush kind of, do you like true crime? It was so hush hush.
Yeah, I had
you didn't tell anyone.
No, I had a true crime book my mum got once out, like from a flea market, and she'd read it and she went, "Do you want to read it?" I was like, because I read everything. I was the kid that read the shampoo bottles. I just loved reading. So she gave it to me to read. She didn't give a shit. She was like, as long as you're reading, I don't care. So I read this from beginning to end, and it scared the bejesus out of me that it was real, because it all had about Yorkshire Ripper in it and shit like that. And then that was in the early 90s, and so I would have been put in my early teens, and that then made me sit back and think, shit, there are actually fucking weird people. There are fucked up, messed up people out there. And then we started to collect those true crime magazines that you could get.
Oh my God, yeah.
Which I have the full set of, but that came from my stepdad, because he was a secret true crime nut and he never told us. And then he said to me one day, "Do you want these?" And he had the whole set. And I was like, are you kidding me?
That's it. You know, you didn't. It was always like, it was something you kind of kept to yourself. Now it's like, Jesus Christ, it's evolved so much into it's just normal lexicon now. It's just how we talk. And I think that was on the verge at the time. Hotel, again, is probably one of the most breathtaking series he ever did. But I have to watch it from the point of view of Elizabeth Taylor, because Dennis O'Hare is probably one of the best performances he has ever, in my opinion, has ever done. It is
absolutely my favourite.
Breathtaking.
The way that he plays Liz in that film, and we can talk about Dennis because obviously Dennis is linked to this one and as well. So the way he plays Liz is with such a beauty and compassion and empathy towards the fact that he lost everything to become her, but he wanted nothing more than to just be her forever, and the only way he knew that for that to happen would be to die within the hotel and exist as Liz for the rest of his eternity, or damned soul,
whatever that means. That scene when he walks into the bedroom and he has all the weapons laid out and they're all hesitating, and he says, "This is," because I think he's dying anyway.
I kind of get the impression. I don't think I can't remember if they tell you.
It's been a while since I've seen it, and when Gaga walks in and she's like, "I created you, and I'm gonna take you into this next part of your transition period," and I'm like, "Oh my God, Gaga, please!"
I actually have a shawl thing that I bought from Hot Topic when I went out there in 2010, I think. No, 2017 it was. Sorry, and it says, "Goddesses don't speak in whispers; they only speak," across the back, and that's what she says to Liz. The Countess says that to Liz.
Oh, I love it. I love their relationship. I love how honest he is with her. I love how honestly him and Kathy Bates, how amazing them two are together. How much the compassion that he has for his own family, even though he's done something in his eyes that broke everything up, like how he is with his son. And I love it. That's the only reason I love that series, and probably is my favorite, is because of the performance Dennis O'Hare gives in there is just mind-bendingly fucking fantastic.
Which goes to show that he is that good at playing characters. I would never have put him as Liz next to Charles B. Pierce Jr. because
He's
so
no,
different.
so different. But this is it. He is probably one of the greatest character actors of our time, and yet, and I'm so glad Ryan Murphy has him, because we all know that he's going to get work. But it's just, oh, you really want, and I want more, and I want to see more, because there's that man, I feel like, could literally take on anything.
The thing I didn't like about this film was the way it ended.
It was so weird. It was so Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, if I could change one thing about this film, it's the way that they chose to wrap up the killers, the copycat killers.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say, did not expect either of them, because it turns out there was two. There was the copycat and his young protege that he was molding, or you could call him a patsy, right? Take your pick. Turns out that it's the policeman that's been guarding her the whole time. He's like the son of the suspected original killer that isn't ever mentioned but kind of mentioned, and that's a bit grey. And I'm like, no, come on. And he starts going on about following in his footsteps and how he has to make him proud, and it just, none of it really made any sense. And I was like, well, you didn't really need to do it. We didn't need a reveal. The first one proves, if you'd have just let that be.
Yeah.
No
Left it
one
open
would
to
have cared.
left it open to interpretation, because maybe,
Yeah.
do you know what, someone could be incredibly brave and go, do you know what, in like 50 years time I'm gonna fucking do another Town That Dreaded Sundown, and we're gonna go even more meta, we're gonna go fucking a movie and a movie and a movie.
See, and that's the thing. I think they did so well up until that last scene, where they do the killer reveal, and it's just like, we
Oh, they
don't
might as well have
need
took
to know.
masks off. Yeah, they might as well have took the masks off and do like
Shit. It was the way she does the Drew Barrymore kind of scream thing where
so
Drew pulls the face off. You don't get to see who it is, but you just see her reaction to the face. And you think, okay, are we leaving it there? And you think, right, that's a good place to leave it. She knows, we don't, right?
that's fine.
I would have been happy with that as kind of, not necessarily the end, but and then she gets away or whatever, but like to the point of where if they'd have left it there where she knew and we didn't, I would have been more than happy.
Yeah.
But then you just have this, like you say, the Scooby-Doo reveal, whether if
I
it
could have
wasn't
gotten
because
away with
he
it.
kids.
Do you know, you've just mentioned the whole Drew Barrymore thing there. There was a scene in the, and you mentioned earlier about the feet being like kind of a homage thing, like later on in movies. There's a moment, and I think it's the woman who gets shot in the face when she's on the ground. There is so much that you could take from that and put into Scream. I was like, shit, okay, so that's like where that came from. That whole movement there was a lot of movement bits where I was like, shit, that's like Drew Barrymore getting killed in Scream, like right there.
There's
That's
a lot.
crazy.
There's a lot of similarities between the way they chose for Ghostface to act before it got silly and the way that they chose Sackhead, like the bit in the 70s version where he's ripped out, like I say, he rips out the part of the car and he's waving it at them as if to say, you keep trying that engine, you're not fucking going nowhere. And they have a very similar kind of thing that happens in one of the earlier films where they keep turning the engine and it's not going anywhere, and he's got like, I don't know, it has its moments, and it feels like, I'm not saying Scream specifically because all movies have used what are now classed as tropes, but
Yeah.
they weren't tropes when they were done in the 76 movie. So if you could trace all the modern horror tropes that you know now and find an origin point, the 76 version was where they came from.
Yeah.
And this is why I desperately wanted to do this film, because it's the film no one's seen. It's the film everyone should know if they're a horror buff, because it lends to cinema and horror as we see it now. Now,
Yeah.
the meta wasn't a necessary addition. It was a good addition, except for the last 10 minutes. I would happily I happily love it. It has its place. I love the way that they handled the whole move, the existence, the agreement that everything is still there. However, again, it just boils down to the last 10 minutes. Didn't need it. Didn't need it.
You
For
didn't. You could have just walked away, and she could have been the only one who knew, and that would have been fine. That'd have been totally fine because we already know if you've watched the original. And I'm assuming people are going to watch the original in order to know this one.
I would like people to, because it's easily accessible. I think it's even on YouTube, so you can go and watch it.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't find it there.
I think you got to do a bit of digging. But yeah, there's a lot to. Yeah, I think you need to watch the film. Have patience with it. It's not a modern movie. It's a 70s film. It runs its own time zone.
Yeah, to be honest, you don't even need patience. Just enjoy it. It was such a joy. I mean, the whole narration part as well, like, that proper brings you in. Like, you are, like, for me, first time watching, I was like, oh, okay, here I am. Yep, I'm in this. Aesthetically, it's just fucking mwah. Like, it is so 70s. It is just 70s pretending to be 40s. Like, it's very noticeable. Just watch for the cars, if anything else. The cars are fantastic. Little bubble cars, man. I love them.
Well, the weird thing about these movies was the budget for the 76 version was 400K in 76, which works out about 2.2 million in today's money. So he
Shit,
had
that's some
the money
coin.
put behind that first one.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I could find, the 2014 one had
Didn't?
200,000 as a budget with the
Well,
actors that
with
had
their
in it.
two names
And
behind it.
the more I looked, the more it was doubling down on the 200K as the budget. I was like, that can't be right. So I can't really stand for the 2014 numbers I have because I don't think they are right. The box office for the 76 version, because it was loosely based on a true story and nobody had ever seen a movie that had done something like that in the horror genre, was 5 million in 76, which then took it to 40, 50 million in today's money.
That's not bad. Sometimes that's a bad coin.
No, I mean
Not bad
that's
at all.
38 to 48 million return for Charles B. Pierce.
Well done, Charles.
So just goes to show if you're respectful enough, it'll work out in the end.
Yeah, respectful and also pace yourself. There was no rush in any of the original. And it really was a nice pacing as it went along. I didn't feel like we were rushing the kills or we were rushing, the conversations that the policemen were having. They were all paced out just perfectly.
It was. Yeah, so I have here my 1-star reviews.
Okay, let's do a 1-star review.
And oddly, the first one's from the 76 movie and the second one is from the 2014 movie, but they are both by someone called Jessica. Not the same person, but oddly I chose both by a person called Jessica, which wasn't intentional. So the first one, 1 out of 10 on IMDb from Jessica. Possibly worst movie ever. Horrible story, bad acting, some of the worst effects I've ever seen. The director owes me 90 minutes of my life back. I would suggest chewing on glass over watching this movie. That's for the 76 version.
Jessica!
I know. I think she should go chew on glass in the corner because if it wasn't for this film, Jessica, you would not have all the others that you.
And also, it's based on fucking true events.
Jessica wasn't giving a shit when she wrote that one.
Jesus! Go on then.
And the 2014 1 out of 10 was by Jess. Too late to turn back now. I believe I'm falling in love with this awful film. She'd given it 1 star, but she fell in love with it, even though it was terrible. So honestly, the others were like 20 paragraphs long, and I couldn't condense them into any kind of like coherent.
Yeah, just rambling bullshit.
Just people going, and why did they do this? And why did they do that? And I get when you're frustrated with a film, you just let the review have it. But sometimes short and sweet has just as much of an impact as a 42-page dossier. You don't need to write the freaking manifesto.
No, you don't need to write War and Peace.
Kaczynski fucking. don't need to do that. We
No.
don't need all that. Thank you.
Well, no. The first one's got me shocked. Like, it's based on true events. Like,
Yeah.
terrible story. It's fucking real life.
That's what I think. I think again, going back to that though, I think because people are so used to seeing based on a true story now, they think, is it? Didn't happen. I don't
Well,
know.
actually, you're right because I had that moment today. So there was a film I wanted to watch at the weekend and last weekend, and I didn't get a chance to. So I watched it today, and it was The Ritual, not the brilliant 2017 Ritual that we've covered before, but the 2025 Ritual with Dan Stevens and Al Pacino,
Mm,
and it's based on a true story, and it actually is.
mm.
Um, I wrote a review on it on Letterboxd. I'm not going to go into it. Read me review. It's the first time I've ever done a really bad review for something. It was, it was, it was all right. If it wasn't for Al Pacino, that movie did not stand a chance. Did not. Dan Stevens didn't know if he was English or American all the way through it. Did
Yes.
not know where he was.
Yeah, he does get a bit confused sometimes.
And he really did on this one. But yeah, if Al Pacino's not in that film, then it doesn't work. And for having a movie that is meant to be set in 1920, make it look like it was set in 1920. Don't have your camera so clean that it looks like it's 2025. Sorry, I'll stop.
No, it's cool. Right, I've also done
Uh-huh.
the 666
Degrees of
Jade,
Jade.
whatever we're calling it. So
Which are you leading it to, though? Or where you starting from?
second one.
Oh, okay.
Because the first one, I'm not going to lie, that was difficult because there was nobody in it
Yeah,
you could link to anything. It
I
was
get that.
so,
We'd still be here tomorrow.
it would be it would be again a Ted Kaczynski manifesto. Let's be honest. I would be arrested,
Brilliant.
just for wasting time. Not police time, just your time.
Yeah.
Right, here we go.
Okay.
Ed Hammond, who played the Reverend, is arguably most famous for playing Max in The Lost Boys. He
Mhm.
also played Herman Munster in the 1995 Here Come the Munsters.
Yes, he did.
We are used to none other than the amazing Fred Gwynne playing Herman, but he also played Judd in Stephen King's Pet Sematary. His famous quote is, "Sometimes there's better." Also quoted in the Ice Nine Kills song Funeral Arrangements. This wasn't prearranged, by the way.
Mm-mm.
Spencer Charnas has brought to life many a horror song crossover. My second favourite being The Hip to Be Scared, based off the American
What's
song.
this? Oh
Based
my
off
God.
Psycho. Jacoby Shaddix appears in the video, and he is the lead singer of Papa Roach.
Mhm.
Papa Roach featured on the Avengers Assemble soundtrack with the track Even If I Could.
Uh-huh.
In the Marvel one-shot for Agent Carter, the character Agent Flynn is played by Bradley Whitford, most known for Get Out, Cabin in the Woods, but I know him as Mike from Adventures in Babysitting. And that's the first time I've brought Mike into this one. In 100 episodes, Mike has finally appeared.
That couldn't have been more aimed at me if you tried. You had Pet Cemetery brought in there. You did the Sometimes Death is Better. Then Ice Nine Kills, and then actually reference the t-shirt I'm fucking wearing. This is from the Hip to Be Square. That's crazy.
Do you like Ice Nine Kills?
No, not really. Oh, someone did catch me out on that once on Facebook, the motherfuckers. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, no, this is not prearranged.
She had no idea.
I really didn't. I
I
never
had no
know.
idea. No.
I never know when it comes down to it. And also, this was literally just lying about. I did not have this on earlier today. I have been lying in like the baggiest t-shirt, like airiest t-shirt ever. Wow.
Yeah, I thought I'd take it in a different direction because, like, it was too easy to go from Lost Boys, 80s movie, same year.
Yeah.
It was too easy. So
You
I
got
thought
you got Judas in there.
I was going to take it around the houses a little bit because
Oh,
when I found out that Ed Herman was Herman Munster, I was like, right.
I knew that. I watched a documentary on the
Yeah.
Munsters, and it was the evolution of the family and obviously the success of the main TV show, but then the downfall of everything else that fell afterwards. Like, oh, like you know how the Addams family went from strength to strength. The Munsters just never did.
No,
which
because
is
people
so
didn't get
sad.
it. They lost the magic of it when they took away the main people who played the characters. And
Yeah.
it wasn't a slight against any of the guys who came thereafter.
No, just
It was just that Fred had something. The way he played Herman
I'm so childlike.
embodied Herman. And,
Uh-huh.
you know, the way that Lily and Eddie and Grandpa were all played were absolutely amazing. So I think it just lost the magic when other people took over because they weren't them. And I
Yeah.
think this is a pure case of the original is the best and always
Yeah,
will be. And
always will be.
again, nothing to do with the talent of anybody else except for Sheree Moon.
Oh no, the
yeah.
guy who plays who plays him in the other one is he's in Salem's Law, not Salem's Law. It's
He was in, he did HorrorCon last year.
he did, yeah.
I can
Can't
see
think
his
of his.
face.
I
He's
can
got a
see it, yeah.
double-barreled name.
He was phenomenal as Herman. If anyone has taken the mantle on after Fred Gwynne, it's him. He did so well. He embodied him so well. It's actually now it's right here, my box set, my Monsters box set. I've finished Golden Girls, so my Golden Girls run is finished for the year, and now I'm moving on to the Munsters. But yeah, what else was I going to say? I can't remember. Never mind.
There was another one that was one move.
Mm.
There was a one move 666 I could do.
Got them.
Right. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this or not because it kind of comes across as a bit, but I'll do it. Where has it gone? Come back. Oh yeah, there it is. Right. Okay. So Dennis O'Hare played Charles B. Pierce. He's mostly famous for franchises such as AHS and True Blood. In 2017, I met Dennis. In 2018, I travelled to Rhode Island Comic Con where I met Keith Coogan.
I get
So
what you mean now.
it was one move and it's me. So it's kind of egotistical when I did it. And I was like,
Funny though.
wasn't intentionally egotistical, but you know, you have that moment where you're like, I can do this. And I
Because it's me.
and then I read it and I was like, maybe that's not a good idea. So then I went in and I went back through it and did the big one. But I really enjoyed that one because there was something about it like
That took you down some roads.
linking. Well, it was your birthday. So I thought I'd put your favourite things in there if I could squeeze them in.
Really? You felt like literally my favourite band, my favourite Stephen King book, my favourite quote from my favourite Stephen King book. Jesus Christ, you really did. And also, if nobody saw, Dan did get me the best birthday present ever. Not to say that Phyllis Rose actually knows my name. Just going to say that. Just put that out there. Do you want to know what we're doing next week?
Am I ready for this? Am I ready?
Do you want to know where my thought process has been in this whole thing, right? So I knew I was going to do Club... Go on, what?
No, I was just saying, bearing in mind Club Dread, so I'm just...
Yeah. So I always knew I was going to do Club Dread because I just wanted to talk about it. Regretted, but wanted to talk about it. And then for some reason, this is just my thought process. This isn't what we're doing. I was thinking Freddy versus Jason. You had two big horror icons in there. We've never touched Freddy before. Maybe this could be a good entry point. Now I put that on the back burner, and then I was like, and then when you mentioned we were doing this one, I was like, oh shit, that is kind of serious. Maybe I should look on the serious line. Alice, Sweet Alice. You can't get any more fucking serious and fucking fucked up than that film. And then I went, oh my god, there's a franchise we've never touched before. And we'll always say that we're going to touch it, but we always want to do it around the time of the season, which is My Bloody Valentine. So I was like, oh, okay, we're going to do it. And right up until yesterday, we were doing My Bloody Valentine until I watched The Life of Chuck on Saturday. And I was sitting talking to Ant about it last night. And Ant said, what other movies has Mike Flanagan actually done again? And I went, oh, he's did one called Hush. And it is a slasher movie. Next week, we are doing Hush. You don't like it. You don't like Hush.
I hated it.
You hated Hush!
Right. In fairness, I turned it off.
Well, you're not going to you got to watch it now.
No. I will obviously go back in and watch it again. I think I just didn't like the fact that she was playing
A deaf person.
Yeah, it made me uncomfortable because I know she's not, and
No.
and I'm not being one of those virtue signaling people that are like deaf actresses and blind actresses should be able to play their own part. I'm not virtue signaling in any way,
No.
but I think it's because you know who she is and you know she's
Oh,
playing
yeah.
at it, and I think that was probably where I was like, I know you're acting.
Yeah. I get what you mean in
Yeah.
that sense, but
So
I
I think
think
that took me out of it. So I think I've got to give it a second chance, and I love Mike Flanagan, so I'm sure I will like it. I just think
ex-
I just couldn't get that out of my head when I started to watch it the first time.
I got this recommended. Now I didn't even know who Mike Flanagan or Kate Siegel was at this time, and I got this recommended from the people at Tales from the Boo Crew, and it was this and the Taking of Deborah Logan,
I love
and
that.
I fucking love that film. And I watched both of them and instantly messaged, I think it was either Lauren or Trevor, and I was like, loved it. Like, loved it. I just love the idea behind it, but bearing in mind, I didn't know Mike Flanagan at the time. Now that I do, I think it'll be interesting for us because we've had so much after this movie to see what the early days were actually like, because I haven't watched it since.
Because Kate's his wife in real life, isn't she?
Yes, and Kate and him wrote this together.
Mhm.
They did. I'll give you a little tidbit. They did actually go and get help from the Death Association to do this film justice, to where she wasn't just imitating someone and pretending she couldn't hear.
Good, because
So
I do.
I get that, and there's a lot that, yeah, there was a lot that they worked with. It shocks me because I forget that Samantha Sloan has been in his films ever since the very beginning. I always think she joined at Midnight Mass. Nope, she's always been there, and she's gonna be playing fucking Carrie's mother in the TV series.
She was in the pit as well.
You you kind of get a better actress to do it. She is gonna Piper Laurie the shit out of this. It's
I,
gonna be amazing.
she does play fanatical religious nut really, really well. So
Fucking brilliantly. It's going to be amazing. I'm so looking forward to that. Also, just completely throw everything out the window of what we've just been talking about and do a complete turn. Did you hear about the paranormal activity guy who died this week with the
no.
Annabelle doll?
Oh, that yes. Now I'm not being funny. Bullshit on the doll. I'm sorry.
No!
Bullshit on the doll. It's a doll. It's a
I'm
doll.
sorry, but how has Zach Bagans not done this before him?
What died?
Yeah.
Well,
Been with like in like the area of a cursed object.
I was
Like,
gonna say
come on, Zach Bagans will probably be fucking screaming at the fact that someone managed to pull this off before he did.
he's gonna be going into that hotel room and sitting there with his wanky little fucking meter, recording everything, claiming he's heard the voice of this guy, and the doll's been speaking to him, and
He really
oh,
will.
he's gonna milk the shit out of this, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Oh, massively,
I mean,
massively.
uh,
Apparently, he died of natural causes. I call bullshit on the whole thing.
well, I'm. It's a doll.
And
It's a
also, is sorry, but the Warren estate, sorry, not the Warrens, because let's remember they're dead.
mm,
The Warren estate seems to be going through a bit of a turmoil at the moment because it really sounds like either the one trying to be relevant or two, they're fucking skint. So they are touring this fucking Raggedy Ann doll. I want to hope that this is all fake, because if
I really want people to do their own. I mean, it's something I've considered doing on here with us because
mm,
obviously the Warrens have a place in The Conjuring, as we all know.
yeah,
Everybody associates this lovely couple of Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as the Warrens, right?
mm,
This picture perfect, lovely couple with their child. The truth is so fucking far from it. They are the biggest pair of charlatans, and he was a paedophile. And
true
I don't say
story.
that lightly. I don't say that lightly.
No, it's a true story,
It is true. There is accounts of it. Whether he got actually convicted of it, so I should say allegedly. Um,
allegedly.
but there is. They are not the people.
It's not Patrick
They are.
Wilson, and then it's not, no.
They're not the
And
people
no.
they were made out to be. So I genuinely wish,
Sorry.
like you were getting passionate about the whole Arlene.
Yeah.
I feel passionate about these two.
I get it.
I'm
I get
prepared
it.
to watch Vera and Patrick play them because
Because you can,
they're not real people.
I can separate them two in that universe, and I can really separate it. And maybe, do you know what? When the new movie comes out this year, maybe we should do an anti-Warren episode and really fucking tell people the truth on what a diabolical, and more Ed Warren really, how much of a shit he actually was.
It's just the fact that I think there were so many factors into the coercion and the brainwashing of her when he'd had
Oh
his.
yeah, I really do see her as slightly a bit of a victim in it all. I mean, to a degree.
He was somewhere between one of those evangelical.
Yes, he really was,
Christians
but on the other side, he was a
on the other
demonic
side.
one.
And like he was. I
Fucked up,
have
man.
so many things. I have when I hear a podcast has come up on any true crime thing about the Warrens, I will always go and listen to it.
Yeah.
A good, like somebody who I know, Steve Santini, lovely man. He had his own TV show called Antiques from the Dark Side, I think it was called. It is on YouTube.
Oh, interesting.
He went around antique shops and found like cursed and haunted items and things like that. But what Steve is most famous for is being Canada's most Guinness Book of Record holding for escape. He's like a Houdini. He does escape.
Oh, okay.
And he's a metalhead. He's got a mohawk and he's an escapologist. Steve is one of the most loveliest people, and he owns a museum that is like 4 stories tall with all the stuff he's collected over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And he hates the Warrens with a passion. I do not know one person that had to step away from social media when the film came out because it made him so angry that they've been portrayed in such a wonderful light.
Yeah, honestly, you are. When the first movie came in, you are completely suckered into, oh my God, how sweet are these people? Oh my God, how amazing are they? And then when you go and take a deeper look in, if anyone is interested and wants to know about the Warrens, let us know if you want an actual episode of it, because I'm quite happily do some fucking deep dive research on this. So
you
let
will
us
be
know.
bored to tears by the time I'm fucking finished with this one.
Let us know in the comments. But if you do want to listen to a very funny, I mean, in fucking depth breakdown of the Warrens, I believe it is a 3-part episode. That's how deep dive they go into it. Last podcast on the left, Marcus Parks does his homework. Like, to think like the paranormal activity community should be so fucking angry at these people because they really are trying. There's people out there who really are trying to prove that there's life after death, and then you have twats like them two who took complete and utter advantage of people, and you want to hear what they did to the people at Amityville. It's fucking disgusting.
There's a lot that went on. So if you would like us to do an episode that's slightly off, but sort of not off because it's involved in.
We can do it around the Conjuring. The new one's coming out, the last one. So just say, put it in the comments. Let me know. Yeah, the last one. Let me know. Let us know. Well, that was the Town That's Dreaded Sundown, and next week is Hush. I mean, at least we get to talk about Mike Flanagan.
No, like I say, I might completely like it. Like I say, I think I was just so preoccupied with
I get that.
I couldn't let that go. So
take that out. Look at the performance. Look at the actual story.
I will go in afresh.
Okay, man. Well, we are on Nerdy Up North YouTube channel every Monday at 8 o'clock. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And if you are watching us through YouTube, please remember, like, share, and subscribe. We're not mentioning it because it's all over with now, but just to say a massive congratulations to Kira Gardner and Jimmy Simpson. They reached their goal on their Kickstarter. The movie will be finished in its entirety, and I'm just so fucking happy for yous.
Yeah, we really are. We can't express how chuffed we are to be able to finally get to see this, and
it's gonna happen.
I just can't wait for my bits because I backed like the Blob bit, and I want to get my bits. So I can't wait for this to get finished, and we all get to see where this movie's going, and these people get to actually revel in their success.
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah. So,
And if there's not two people that deserve it anymore, it's these two for how hard they've worked at this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I totally back down in everything that you just said there. Just so, like, words can't describe how happy it makes us that we're going to see this. We're going to see Kid Face. We're going to see how we're, it's going to be brilliant. The links for Bleeding Marvelous, Monsters Up North, Nerdy Up North are where, Dan?
Down there.
What?
Somewhere down there.
Yeah. There they are.
Down
They're down
there.
there. They're down there.
Down there.
If I didn't say it before because I got really distracted and I was like, shit, gotta remember to say it later. The audio for this episode goes up same day, Monday. Please remember, search Monsters Up North podcast, not Nerdy Up North, not Monsters Up North, Monsters Up North podcast. Because that's where you'll find us.
Yeah. Hiya.
Hi, right there. Oh, is that it? Can we do it? We're nearly at the end of Slash Away.
One more week.
One more week to go.
And then we've got a hell of an episode for you. So
Fucking have we?
a research heavy episode as well. So gonna be
I'm gonna have to. It's gonna be weird going back to my laptop and having to do some work.
Because you're doing next week, so I don't have to do shit for 2 weeks. I've got 2 weeks to work on that episode. So
Motherfucker. Well, if there's nothing else left to say goodbye, Dan.
Bump it. Bye.
It's spooky, everyone.